individual property rights in a way that previous courts haven't.
Yeah, that's all coming up. We'll talk about that. We're going to have Wayne sit in on a couple of segments this morning.
I forgot to tell you guys also that I'm keeping an eye on a cow. There's the cow. Remember the slaughterhouse in Pico Rivera where the cows all got out yesterday?
Yeah.
We were doing the story. There was one cow escapee, and they've been looking for the cow. The cow has been cornered. It looks like he's in a park, and he's surrounded by cops. It's just a cow in a park surrounded by police vehicles.
Now, is the cop, or is there any talk about the possibility of self-inflicted suicide here? Self-inflicted wound?
No, but the best part is the cop cars are all very far around the cop, like they're nervous about what it's going to do. And some of the cops are still in the cars, like, I don't know, the cow looks squirrely. I don't know.
He's out of his element. A woman is in custody after shooting a man to death outside a Ralph's grocery store. This was in the Mid-Wilshire. Let's not do that again. This was outside of Ralph's in the Mid-Wilshire area. Police still trying to figure out exactly why, just generally, they believe there was some dispute between these two people.
Homeless. Both are described as being homeless, and I'm willing to bet the dispute was minor. Inevitably, probably nothing great.
Well, how major would a dispute need to be to justify shooting somebody to death?
Well, it's not a question of justification.
No, I'm saying it could have been a major dispute. We would all go, oh, those people are having a major dispute. It still doesn't justify shooting a guy to death.
But when you have, for example, when you have a homeless dispute, it's over an item, for example. It's over, I want to stay here. This is my part of the pavement, not yours. That's what I'm pointing out to when it comes to homeless crime.
Yeah.
All right, guys, we are done. Coming up, it is official. The recall of Gavin Newsom has now been declared official. I'm going to get into that a little bit because the rules are really interesting. And then the reasons the recall and why Gavin Newsom is going to win this thing. And I'll go through that when we come back. This is KFI AM 640 live everywhere on the iHeartRadio app.
What you need to know and when you need to know it.
This is KFI and KOST HD2 Los Angeles. I'm Jennifer Jones-Lee, and we're keeping an eye on the breaking news coming out of Florida. Hundreds of emergency responders are at the site of a partial condo building collapse in Miami Beach. One neighborhood resident says he felt his own building shake when the collapse happened.
When the dust cleared, there was the back half of the building, or back 2/3 of the building was gone. It's down to the ground.
Authorities say at least one person has been killed. News is brought to you by the Cunning Dental Group. Britney Spears has asked a judge in L.A. to end a conservatorship that's run her life for the past 13 years.
Dozens of people listen to a very different kind of performance from Britney Spears.
I don't think we heard Britney that unfiltered since before the conservatorship.
Free Britney activist Leanne Simmons held her phone to a mic as the testimony streamed from the courtroom yesterday, with Spears calling the conservatorship demeaning and embarrassing.
I'm so proud of her because these people have attempted to crush her spirit.
Simmons says this is a moment to fix conservatorship laws in California.
We're going to make change for her and for others.
In LA, shaking a little bit.
I know. I'm excited.
Chris Ancarlo, KFI News.
Handel will talk more about this in a minute, but the California Secretary of State says there are officially enough verified petition signatures to go forward with the recall election of Governor Newsom. The department says only 43 people out of more than 1.7 million who signed the recall petition decided to withdraw their names. The LA County Sheriff has criticized leaders in the city and county for the growing homeless encampment in Venice. Sheriff Villanueva sent a letter to the Board of Supervisors asking for the declaration of a local emergency.
I'm going to be sending another letter we're crafting right now to Mayor Garcetti, telling him to unhandcuff the LAPD. Let them do their job.
Villanueva has called the mayor and the board and the LA City Council architects of failure. The city of Orange says a soup kitchen is enabling homelessness and has given the nonprofit 90 days to pack up and move it along.
This has been my whole life.
Mary's Kitchen CEO Gloria Cease says for decades people could come get free meals, showers, bus passes, and other services, but now the city wants them to have nowhere to go.
They'll say, well, you have criminals there. And I say to them, I've got them all in one place. Come and arrest them. I mean, if we're the magnet that brings the criminals, then here they are. I'm making your job easy. I don't want the criminals here either.
The city says the focus is now on services to get people into housing, and the soup kitchen is just enabling homelessness.
Hopefully, if Orange won't have us, somebody else will.
In Orange, Corbin Carson, KFI News.
The chief of the Border Patrol says he's been forced out of the job less than 2 years since taking it. Rodney Scott got the job in January 2020, and officials say he embraced former President Trump's policies, especially building a border wall. President Biden has shelved the wall's construction. Pope Francis has welcomed an Italian Spider-Man to the Vatican. ABC's Megan Williams says the man was wearing an iconic Spider-Man costume when he met Francis during the weekly audience.
The man behind the mask is Northern Italian Mattia Villavita. The Pope thanked the 27-year-old actor for his work of dressing up in superhero costumes and visiting sick kids in hospitals.
The Vatican says the man has done more than 1,000 video calls with kids in the hospital to cheer them up during the pandemic. And Black Eyed Peas member will.i.am has partnered with the LA School District to expand a robotics program to get more kids interested in science, math, and technology. Will announced the partnership in his hometown of Boyle Heights yesterday. He says robotics is one career path where any student can go pro.
Pro means you're filling jobs that are unfilled at the moment. And pro also means you're creating jobs that we can't even imagine right now.
The partnership with the I Am Angel Foundation will expand the robotics program from 1,200 students to 12,000 students across the district. We've got a crash on the 14.
It's in Acton, and they're still working here on the 14 south before Crown Valley. 3 cars smashed up. They ended up in the middle traffic lanes. Moved a couple over, but you're still looking at lots of volume from Avenue S. KFI on the Sky is sponsored by injury attorney SuperwomanSuperLawyer.com. Jeff Ball with 210.
Yeah, I really got to warn you about a tough drive now. This could really throw you off schedule. The westbound 210 say from San Dimas towards Duarte. The problem is westbound 210 just past the 605 at Buena Vista. Got the carpool and the left lane blocked. They've been this way for a while. It's really tough all the way back to the 57, heading in the morning drive volume. Now also quite slow is this northbound 605 trying to transition to the westbound 210. That's backed up from a little bit north of Arrow. So a tough drive here. Using Foothill or any of those good surface streets, if you get past the 605, get on around Buena Vista or Myrtle, any of those streets from there into Pasadena, the rest of that westbound drive is looking good. Eastbound 210 still faring pretty well now, leaving Pasadena all the way out through the 605. Injured in an accident, visit SuperwomanSuperLawyer.com. Jeff Barr, KFI in the Sky.
Working a crash in Ontario, 60 westbound approaching Vineyard. That injury wrecking the 2 left lanes. Heavy traffic at the 15. KFI in the Sky helps get you there faster. I'm Robin Banks.
The Dodgers lost to the San Diego Padres by a score of 5-3. The last time LA was swept by San Diego was in 2013. Manager Dave Roberts summed up what went wrong.
I think we got outplayed. I think that we came in prepared and ready to win a series, but, you look back and they got hits when they needed to, made pitches when they needed to, and made plays defensively.
The Boys in Blue get the Cubs today at 7:10. You can listen live on AM 570 LA Sports or in HD through the iHeartRadio app. The Angels also were swept. It was their short series against the Giants. Yesterday's closer went 13 innings, with San Francisco putting up 7 runs in their last frame to bust a 2-2 tie wide open. Final score there 9-2, and the Halos are off today. I'm Wayne Resnick, KFI Sports.
Inflation has been so low for so long, young people don't even know what it is. But inevitably, inflation goes up. And that's exactly what's happening. Prices are going up. Gasoline, housing, Boar's Head ham, really just a disaster when it happens. And so what do you do? Well, if you're thinking about refinancing your home, you want to do before interest rates go up, because that is another sidebar story of inflation. So let me suggest talking to Mark Tice of HMS Capital. And he recommends you apply for a refi with his company, HMS Capital, and then any other lender at the same time. In other words, go to him and a competitor. He's that confident he can get you the best deal. He's done 2 mortgages with me, I've known for 16 years. Call 833-255-5698. 833-255-5698. Visit hmscapital.com.
HMS Capital Funding is a DBA of Golden Empire Inc. MLS ID number 2427. HMS Capital is licensed by the Department of Financial Protection and Innovation under the California Residential Mortgage Lending Act. License number 4130360. Equal housing lender.
At BMW, we made the ultimate range of SAVs. And because each of the 7 X-Range sports activity vehicles flawlessly balance dynamic power, spacious size, and sleek design, you can choose from a fleet that fits perfectly into your life. Like the versatile and bold X1, the unbelievably powerful X3, or the luxurious X7. No matter who you are, no matter where you're going, no matter what's next, there's an X to take you there.
See a SoCal BMW Center today for exceptional offers or visit SoCalBMW.com.
I have to tell you that the rescue is underway now for the missing cow that was found after an escape from a slaughterhouse in Pico Rivera. The cow is tied by rope by 2 handlers on either side, but the cow somehow now has gotten itself tangled around a tree, and the tree is raining flowers all over the cow. It's the craziest thing, and the cow's surrounded by 3 cop cars. Only in LA. Your KFI Financial Report is brought to you by Bay Alarm. The number of Americans applying for unemployment benefits has dropped slightly. The Labor Department says jobless claims filed last week fell by 7,000. The Dow is up 272, S&P up 24, NASDAQ up 115. Gold is $17.83 an ounce, and oil is $72.86 a barrel.
The KFI Money Report is brought to you by Bay Alarm, now offering virtual security consultations using your mobile phone. Visit bayalarm.com to get protected today.
SoCal weather from KFI, a lot like yesterday. Highs will be in the low 70s to the upper 80s. We'll make it in the mid 90s by the weekend. We lead local. Live from the KFI 24-hour newsroom, I'm Jennifer Jones-Lee.
KFI AM 640, Bill Handel here on a Thursday, June 24. Big news that we're carrying in the Miami area, a beachfront condo building collapse, 1 dead, 35 people rescued so far, 2 hospitalized, and this is just the whole front of this condo building. I mean, it's extraordinary, and we'll be talking about that throughout the morning. Now, we have official news. The recall is happening. Of course it is. I've been saying that for months and months. And that is the move to recall. Governor Gavin Newsom has now hit a new area or a new level, and it is absolutely going to happen. There was some doubt because attempts have been made to recall governors before. It's only happened once successfully, and that was Gray Davis a couple of decades ago. And those folks who are trying to get the governor recalled are looking back at that as the basis for what's happening now. Very different animal. Gray Davis was recalled basically for one reason, and that's how he handled the energy crisis. And we had an energy crisis that I don't want to get into too much. It was nuts. The price of electricity had dropped, so utilities and the state of California decided, well, we'd rather buy on the open market because creating our own electricity is too expensive, so they sold off all of the hard assets, power plants, etc., and then became the mercy of the market. And just when the prices went up, everybody in the state was affected. I mean, deeply. Price of energy doubled, tripled, went up 8%, or went up 8 times. Not here. This recall is all about, well, how he has handled the pandemic. I mean, the pandemic's over for the most part here in California. I mean, do people really care? How he stopped businesses from coming back. Should have opened up businesses sooner. It's probably true. Is that enough to recall him? I don't think so. Not opening the schools up quickly enough. Okay, you can argue. Is that enough to have him recalled? Probably not. There isn't one major reason. It's a bunch of relatively small reasons that he is being recalled, and I think you have to have a big guy. In the case of Gray Davis, you had electricity, cost of power exploding across the state to where people were, I mean, literally, they could not afford to turn their lights on. That's not the case here. And so it's going to be, well, let me give you a quick rundown, okay? The Secretary of State had 10 business days to notify counties there are enough valid signatures. From April 26th to June 8th, anybody who signed the recall can withdraw their signature. So we know there have been signatures withdrawn, all 43, but that count had to be made. Then the Secretary has to notify the Department of Finance, which then has 30 business days to estimate the cost of this whole thing. And this ends August 5th, but can happen a lot sooner. And there are two different estimates that the Department of Finance has to deal with. One, a separate election on its own, a recall. How much would that cost? Or do you hold a recall within the next scheduled election? Well, clearly one's far cheaper than the other one. And then it's up to the state legislature to determine whether or not there's going to be a special election. On June 10th, Assembly of State and Senate leaders said they would commit $125 or $215 million to county election officials. So it looks like the legislature is just fine with a special election where nothing else is going to be on the ballot except for that one question, two questions. Should the governor be recalled? And if yes, who should replace him? And only after all of that and the certifying of the signatures, the lieutenant governor calls the election. And it has to be held within 60, 80 days of the time the signatures are certified, which just happened. So based on all that, it's probably going to be a recall election on its own anywhere from late August through October. And we're going to be hearing a lot of noise on that one. Coming up, the Supreme Court affirms private property rights. I'm going to have Wayne join me on this one. This is KFI AM 640. Let's check in with Jennifer.
President Biden will meet with 10 senators today on a tentative infrastructure deal. He invited the bipartisan group to the White House after reaching an agreement on $579 billion in new spending. Vice President Harris is headed to the border with Mexico tomorrow for the first time. She's been under pressure to tour it after being named the border czar 3 months ago. And more than 35 of the nation's top gymnasts are in Missouri today to try out for the Tokyo Olympics. They'll be competing through Sunday at the U.S. Olympic team trials. That includes four-time Olympic gold medalist Simone Biles. We'll take a look at your drive on the 60. Little bit better there. VKFI in the Sky is next.
Where do SoCal drivers go for a super selection of new Hondas and a super experience? The Norm Reeves Honda Superstore. Start with super value when you sell us your vehicle. Then choose from one of the largest Honda inventories in Southern California. Every new Honda is backed by our exclusive price protection guarantee, which states if you can find the same new Honda for less within 5 days, Norm Reeves will pay you the difference or buy your vehicle back. Plus, our friendly team makes car buying effortless and enjoyable. Hurry in for super selection and a super experience during the Norm Reeves 4th of July event. Visit our super award-winning Norm Reeves Honda Superstore locations in Huntington Beach, West Covina, the Irvine Auto Center, and the #1 Honda store in the world in the Cerritos Auto Square. Plus, we're now open in Vista. Shop online at normreeves.com.
As for Global Honda, new vehicle sales 2020.
It's Sit and Six Independence Sale, where you can save $1,000 on select mattresses from Sealy, Beauty Rest, and Kingsdown.
Right, Dad. Plus $500 on Tempur-Breeze mattresses.
With your good credit, pay 0% financing for 24 months with your minimum monthly payment at 10% down. Plus save 15% on all Casper mattresses.
Dad, could you tell the marching band to cool it?
Sorry, once they start marching, they can't stop.
So this Independence Day holiday, trust your sleep to Sit and Sleep.
SoCal weather from KFI. Sunny today with temperatures from the low 70s to the upper 80s. This report is brought to you by Grocery Outlet. Let's take a look at that drive now on the 60.
In Ontario, on the 60 westbound approaching Vineyard, had a wreck here in lanes. Now it's on the right shoulder, so that's the good news. Your drive's starting to break up a little bit. Still going to find some delay right around the 15. KFI in the Sky is sponsored by injury attorney SuperwomanSuperLawyer.com. Update on a wreck on the 210.
Oh, boy, if you just joined us now, this is not good, especially if you're leaving San Dimas, Laverne, any of those to the west and out towards Monrovia and Duarte. It's packed in solid. The problem is westbound past the 605 at Buena Vista. The carpool and left lane were blocked for a long time. As I speak to you now, there's a tow truck that's just pulling up and trying to separate everybody, but boy, it's really a tough drive. Now, if you can use Foothill or any of those, even Arrow Highway on the south side of the 210, but Foothill, go through the 605 where it turns into Huntington, get on the mountain. From that point, you're past the problem and on your way into Pasadena. And from that point, it really is real good all the way into Pasadena, no problems at all. But long time delays here, especially tough too, is the northbound 605 transition to the west 210. That's impacted heavily coming up from Arrow Highway. Eastbound side, so far so good. Nobody's looking. That's a good thing. All the way out to the 57, no problem. Injured in an accident, visit SuperwomanSuperLawyer.com. Jeff Barr, KFI in the Sky.
Wreck in Anaheim, 91 westbound just after East Street. Still a car crash, facing the wrong way. Going to be some pressure here from State College. KFI in the Sky helps get you there faster. I'm Robin Day.
Another round of rivalry baseball begins on Monday, June 28th as the Dodgers take on the Giants for a 2-game series.
This ball back. This ball gone. 3-run shot.
Join us Monday night where the first 40,000 fans in attendance will receive a snapback cap presented by Q-Cell. Or on Tuesday night when the first 40,000 fans will receive a Max Muncy bobblehead presented by Bank of America. And don't worry,
Probably thinking, go get it out of the ocean.
we won't make you get it out of the ocean.
Summer is here and it is getting hot.
Hey, you know what else is hot? The money that I'm saving with Solar Max technology.
Without upfront cost?
Yeah, that's because Solar Max does everything themselves under one roof right here in Southern California. Exceptional quality control and no middleman.
Right now, Solar Max is only $69.98 a month, which includes a solar panel system and a home battery, and an APR as low as 0.99%. This offer expires June 30th.
Dial pound 250 on your cell and say Solar Max, or go to solarmaxtech.com. Monthly payment available on approved credit. CSL number 972
Dean Sharp here. Nothing disrupts your life, your comfort, even your safety like a power outage. And outages are the new normal. So now is the time to set up your home with an emergency generator from Duffy Power. Duffy is Southern California's generator experts. And with 0% interest financing, emergency power totally affordable. Duffy Power, making sure your life, your comfort, and your safety are not to be interrupted. Dial pound 250 on your cell and say Duffy Power. Pound 250 Duffy Power, or on the web at DuffyPower.com.
Are you worried about refinancing your mortgage only to find a better rate later? Introducing the No Regret Refinance from Network Capital Funding Corporation. Mortgage rates are near all-time lows, and Network Capital is now offering one of our lowest 30-year fixed rates ever, 2.375% with a 2.56% APR. With a rate this low, you'll never have to worry about refinancing again. Our unique process is fast, simple, and secure. And right now, the Network Capital 30-year fixed rate is 2.375% with a 2.56% APR. Now, today's low rates won't last, so talk to us about the No Regret Refinance today. Call the experts at Network Capital right now. Call 800-500-1-HIT. That's 800-500-1-HIT. As in home run. Call now and save big on your refi. 800-500-1-HIT. 800-500-1448.
NMLS ID 11712. Not licensed in all states. Visit NMLSConsumerAccess.org. Licensed by the California Department of Financial Protection and Innovation under the Finance Law number 603D787. An equal opportunity lender. Rates subject to change and may not be available at rate lock. Discount points may apply. Subject to credit approval. Call 800-500-1448 for additional cost information.
If you've been injured in an accident, hiring the right attorney matters. Sweet James Accident Attorneys have helped thousands of listeners and settled millions of dollars each month. Accident victims are not just numbers. Their stories are real, just like this one. Before her accident, a Sweet James client enjoyed spending time with her family and living a normal life. Until one day her life changed forever and she was terribly injured in a collision. The insurance company wouldn't even cover her surgeries and medical bills. Thankfully, her daughter hired Sweet James. Her team of attorneys fought hard to make sure she was able to receive all the care she needs. Sweet James was able to settle her case for $5.7 million. If you or someone you love is ever injured in an accident, don't take the gamble. Call Sweet James. Every case is different, and they can't guarantee the outcome, but it's important to get an experienced law firm on your side. Call for a free consultation at 800-500-5200. That's 800-500-5200 or sweetjames.com.
Biden, he has embarked on a full-time career as an artist.
You see how he's making these paintings?
Yeah, what is that instrument?
It's a straw.
Gary and Shannon, weekdays at 10 a.m.
Should somebody who has had a cocaine problem in the past be using a straw for anything?
No, on KFI.
Welcome back, everybody. Bill Handel here. It is a Thursday morning, 24 June. As people say that, June 24 June. Depending on where you are. All right. Let's get right into what happened with the Supreme Court and some property rights. And I brought in Wayne because Wayne is, he's exercised about this one. He thought it was pretty good.
It's the next thing that I got.
Well, I want you in here.
It's the next thing you're going to do at 7:30 that I got ticked off about, which is Biden.
Yeah, we'll do that too.
Trying to turn gun dealers into vicious criminals just for following the law.
Yes, which I'm totally in favor of.
And this
was the one with California.
My love of appellate cases.
And because this is what we do. Appellate cases every Monday when they have a case. And this is an interesting one in that it has to do with individual property rights. And it was a chase that the police were chasing this guy on a misdemeanor charge. He pulls into his driveway at home. They follow him. He's in the garage. They go into the garage and they do a search, a warrantless search. And he said, you don't have a right to do that. And the Supreme Court came back and agreed with him, and in a very, very forthcoming and strong decision, which made it clear cut, the court said, sometimes yes, sometimes no. It depends on the circumstances. For a misdemeanor, you shouldn't be able to, or you should have a warrant if you have a chance to get a warrant. And if you say it's exigent circumstances, we don't have time, which the law accepts that if you don't have time for a warrant, and the circumstances allow for a search, then the police certainly are allowed to do that, unless it is a minor enough infraction where you shouldn't do it anyway. And I think it was Kagan who said that's just too bad. If you have a situation where it's a misdemeanor, you don't have time for a warrant, it's a low enough offense, then just you're done. The cops can't do anything. So coming out of this, Wayne, I don't think I get a lot of information.
Well, here's what happened, okay? And I have an analogy from radio. What happened here is, you had to, it used to be, if you're going to go onto somebody's property, you have to have a warrant. And then you have a situation where there's a guy running around attacking people. And you follow him to his house, and he runs into his house. And cops are like, this guy is immediately a danger to anybody who's in that house. And then the court said, okay, you're right. You know what? Immediate danger to people, you can go in without a warrant. That's fine. Then you have a situation, this guy had a bunch of drugs in his car, and we chase him, and he gets into his house. He's going to flush all the drugs down the toilet and destroy the evidence. And the court said, yeah, you know what? You've got a point. You can't let people destroy evidence. So you know what? If somebody's going to destroy evidence, you can go in there without a warrant. Okay, here's my analogy to radio. Let's say that the FCC says, if there's a major news story involving a big important issue, and as part of it, a very important public figure like a president cursed and said the F word, you can go ahead and say it, quoting him, right? Mm-hmm. Okay, because it's important enough, you can say it and not be in trouble. Now, later, there's some tiny story where somebody said it, and you go, you know what, I'm going to say it this time too. And they come in and say, hey, wait a minute. We told you when it's a big story you can say it, not any time. So what happens here, and this is a very human, natural thing. Police know that there's exceptions to needing a warrant. but they're out in the middle of situations, right? They can't sit down and crack open a law book. So they start to go onto properties without warrants in a broader range of situations. Here we got one that was brought to the Supreme Court's attention, and they said, not in this case, not with something like this. Because it's a misdemeanor. He was playing music loud and honking his horn. The other thing is, I don't know if this is relevant, but it was 4 seconds from the time the cop turned on his lights to the guy turning into his driveway, going into the garage and closing the garage door. And the cop actually went and stuck his foot under the garage door to get it. So they're saying, okay, here you've gone too far. You've treated a minor thing like a major thing. That we cannot allow. It's not important enough to invade someone's Fourth Amendment rights.
And here's the problem, is you never know where that line is.
Yes.
You have to look at each case individually and look at a police officer. And in this case, it was, I think also he was given a ticket for drunk driving.
Well, after the cop got into the garage, he's like, hey, you. And he gave him a breath test and he was drunk.
Just a ticket? He wasn't arrested, which is kind of bizarre. But that's incidental to this process. So this one, the court has said, yes, under certain circumstances, the problem with, and people don't understand this, the court rules narrowly. Very rarely do you have an all-encompassing decision. Brown versus Board of Education, enormous. Roe versus Wade, enormous. I mean, broad. Courts don't like broad. They say, in this case, this is where the guy's property rights were violated.
Next time, if it's 8 seconds between turning on your light and him turning, maybe you'll be allowed to go in there without a warrant.
And then the other one happened to do with going on to private property, unions' right to go onto private property. And the property rights, this is a guy farm rights right now under the Labor Relations Board, National Labor Relations Act. You've got union organizers can come on to private farmland, talk to the workers to get them to go on the union, to get them to join the union, and they have the ability to go an hour before, an hour after. And you had some owners of the property, Fowler Packing Company in Fresno, refused to allow the union organizers onto their property, violation of the law.
They said it was a trespass and a taking basically.
Right. And the court agreed with them.
And the court did agree with them. And it's actually a California thing, that they had the right to go on to inform farm workers that they can organize. And the Supreme Court said, no. Because really what's happening is you're allowing people who are not there to, like, for example, the insurance company that insures the farm. They have a right to come on there, right? Because these people are not involved in the operation of the farm, and they're not there to look for safety issues, right? If OSHA comes, you got to let them on.
Of course.
They're there for a purpose that has nothing to do with oversight of this farm. Therefore, they're trespassing.
Yeah, it's very interesting.
And Roberts actually called it. He said it gives them the right to invade.
Yeah, it's very interesting. It's entire Labor Relations Act where you're allowed to have, for example, have union meetings at job sites where the private property, where the union has the right to come in, talk to the workers, have meetings. And I think this court is going to pull back on that.
They are coming down in favor of property rights. I actually like it. Because think back to the courts that said, for example, the government can just take your house away from you and give your property to someone to build a mall.
Yeah.
That Kilo, Connecticut case. So this is, I think, a correction in the right direction.
All right, take a break now. This one you're going to hang on to because this is the one where Wayne and I get into it. And this is the president targeting illegal gun sales. Yesterday, he went public. Rogue dealers, all of it in his strategy to combat rising crime. And there's Wayne jumping at
everything you just said is wrong.
Okay, there. I'm Well, you're just saying what he said. Everything you said about what he said, he's wrong. All right, we'll come back with that. KFI AM 640, let's check in with Jennifer.
Hundreds of first responders are at the scene of a partial building collapse in Miami. At least one person has been killed. Witness Nicholas Balboa says he was on the damaged side of the 12-story building when he heard a voice coming from the rubble.
As I got closer, I was able to see his hands sticking to the rubble, waving. And as he was yelling, I responded to him.
Balboa says he first alerted responders and rescue workers, and they were able to pull the 10-year-old boy out of the debris. An investigation has found Governor Newsom misled the public on California's wildfire prevention efforts and has left the state unprepared for danger to come. The investigation by Cap Radio and NPR found Newsom severely overstated the work done on 35 priority projects. Newsom claimed the Department of Forestry and Fire Protection accomplished work on 90,000 acres throughout hundreds of vulnerable communities, but researchers have found just 13% of that figure has actually been completed. Supervisors in Orange County could serve 12-year terms if voters approve a new measure set for the governor's recall election this November.
We don't need this. Supervisor Don Wagner was against changing current rules, 2 terms, skip a term, then get 2 more terms ad nauseum, to the new proposal of 3 total terms, then lifetime ban.
It has only happened once before, and when someone else tried it, the public said no, regardless of the term limits.
Supervisor Andrew Doe answered critics this week who pointed out current supervisors could use the rule to run an additional 3 terms.
I will not serve more than 12 years. I'm going to say it on the record right now, and I can live by it.
Doe pointed out the state also caps terms at 12 years. In Orange County, Corbin Carson, KFI News.
A former Irvine police officer has pleaded guilty to stealing $68,000 by putting in for overtime he didn't work. He's been sentenced to a year in jail as well as being put on 3 years probation. A man driving a stolen utility box van's been shot and killed by LA County Sheriff's deputies in Norwalk. The Sheriff's Department says deputies thought the guy pulled a gun on them last night and they shot him. The department says it turned out not to be a gun but something else that looked like one. A new hotel and casino is opening for business on the famous Strip in Las Vegas. ABC's Andrea Fujii says it's on the new site of the former Stardust Hotel.
Resorts World Las Vegas opens tonight, the first hotel casino to open on the Strip in more than a decade. Developed by a group from Malaysia, it's 3 hotels in one, costing more than $4 billion to build.
The new hotel has a 5,000-seat concert venue, 7 unique pools, and a 27,000-square-foot spa. And actor John Cena has confirmed he's going back to the WWE. The former wrestling champ is currently working on the latest Fast and Furious movie and has a role in the upcoming Marvel film, The Suicide Squad. We've got a crash on the 14.
It is clearing in Acton on the 14 South, just before Crown Valley Road. This 3-car smash up was in the middle traffic lanes. Everyone on the right shoulder now. Still some congestion from about Angeles 4. And then, some spotty slowing as you make your way to the 5. KFI in the Sky, sponsored by Injury Attorney, superlawyer.com. Jeff Law with more on the 210.
Yeah, it's sad that we had to leave the spot there. The clouds were closing in on us, but we looked at that for a long time. If you're leaving San Dimas, that really adds up. Hopefully, they're making some progress here. But westbound 210, just past the 605 at Buena Vista, almost the same location. Carpool left lane was blocked for a long time. Now, when we left, I know a tow truck was trying to. It was a car stuck under a straight bank truck, so quite a lot going on there. But the bottom line, the backup is coming away from the 57, no doubt about it. So if you're in Glendora, is still using Foothill, get anywhere west of the 605 to get on the west 210, you're definitely past the problem and on your way into Pasadena at speed. Eastbound that looks good. And still kind of slow. It's a little bit there than it was. But north 605 to the west 210, that was all kind of jammed up until you get on the freeway. Now the rest of the drive into Pasadena is good. Even the 134 now coming through Glendale over towards the R5 all well. We're headed out to the west San Fernando Valley. Injured in an accident, visit superwomansuperlawyer.com. Jeff Ball, KFI in the Sky.
Crash on the 210 in Rancho Cucamonga, 210 west approaching Day Creek. It's a motorcycle down. Injury crash on the 2 left lanes. Heavy ride from Cherry Avenue. KFI in the Sky helps get you there faster. I'm Robin Banks.
The Clippers go into tonight's conference finals game 3 against the Phoenix Suns down 2-0. That's a position they've been quite familiar with during this entire playoff run. Clippers point guard Reggie Jackson says the key to success is knowing your role.
I think we've grown into our roles. We've embraced our roles. We hold each other accountable for your role. Really, we all know we have one goal. So we walk in each and every day, no matter what you have going on, we know we have one goal. Guys want to be better individually, but we know it's about coming together collectively and doing anything it takes to find the lane.
Tip-off set for 6 at Staples Center, and it's live on AM 1150. I'm Wayne Resnick, KFI Sports.
Termites are simply a given here in Southern California. I mean, we live in Termite Central. They love the weather, so as we do. They're not crazy about the traffic, but they don't care about that. But the wood in our houses, I mean, that's breakfast, lunch, and dinner all day long because our houses are made out of wood. So how do you deal with termites? Well, call Pacific Coast Termite for a free home inspection. And a couple things are going to happen. First of all, they're going to tell you you don't have termites, which is great news. Or they're going to say, yep, you do, but we can catch them right now, early days, before damage starts. And they do this without tenting. Tenting is a nightmare. If you've ever had termites and tented, which I have, you don't want to go there. Double bagging your food, going to a hotel for days at a time, you don't want to be there. And Pacific Coast Termite does it without any tenting. If you do have termites and you see them and know about it, that's an easy phone call to make. So it's a free inspection. Certain restrictions apply. Call 800-PACIFIC, 800-PACIFIC. Visit PacificCoastTermite.com, 800-PACIFIC.
Pacific Coast Termite kills termites
The clean, friendly way.
SoCal weather from KFI. Sunny today has a range from the low 70s to the upper 80s. Then we'll go into the mid 90s starting tomorrow, upper 90s by the end of the weekend. We lead local. Live from the KFI 24-hour newsroom, I'm Jennifer Jones-Lee.
The best summer